Well, good afternoon, good evening almost, and welcome to Orient Live. It's time to raise the curtain on another League One campaign here, and the O's are kicking off against Bolton Wanderers. And well, things do look slightly different with the new Sky deal and today's later kick-off time, but we're going to be bringing you every single second of the action live here on Orient Live. I'm Ollie Buck, and I'm delighted to be joined in the studio this afternoon or evening. Well, it's the afternoon still. I'm with Glenn Wilkie and Joe Widdowson. It's good to be back, isn't it? It's been a long, cold, dark and lonely summer, but we're back and we're going to do it all over again.
Yeah, it is really good to be back. I think, there's always that excitement, that builds towards the start of the season. It feels like, forever since we last saw any football here at Orient. So, yeah, really excited to be back. Obviously, some exciting additions as well over the summer. Squad's looking a little bit different. So, yeah, I think there's just that, that real sense of optimism, start of the season. Let's see what it holds.
You'll always have optimism at the start of the season, but it might be a little bit tough for some fans to get optimistic when you look at just how strong League One is this season. We'll come on to today's opponents, who obviously narrowly lost out on promotion last season in the playoff final, but some of the teams that have come up from League Two, some of the teams that have dropped down from the Championship, it's an incredible bunch of teams fighting out for the same goal.
It is, yeah. There's some big clubs in there. Some will come down, some will come up. Big budgets floating around, lots of signings. Lots of teams have spent an awful lot of billions as well getting new recruits in. It looks tough on paper. As we know, it's never straightforward as that. Teams you expect to do well will not do so well, or have a slow start to the season, whether that's down to recruitment, players gelling, or we hear all the same old stuff all the time. But it's certainly going to be intriguing, and I'm feeling really positive. I think any kind of progression for us on last season's position is good, and it gets us going in the right direction.
I think we've progressed more or less every year since, especially Richie come in, and every year under Nigel, Travis and Kent Teague's stewardship. And last year was obviously a fantastic season back in League One. To build on that now, we've fine-tuned the squad, a few new additions, some departures, but yeah, as Glenn says, progression would be more than good enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, look, with a manager like Richie Wellens, I think he demands progression and he demands improvement. He's not someone that wants to stay still and get stagnant. So, as you said, fine-tune the squad. I think I like the look of it. I think it looks, today's starting lineup is so youthful. A few names in there that we were really starting to get excited about towards the end of last season, especially the midfield. Ethan Galbraith, I think, was brilliant last season, and he kind of really developed and was looking like a top quality player. Jacob as well, he's one that we've been sort of excited about for a little while, so good to see him in the starting lineup today. But I think, the squad's looking good. I think it's going to be tough. There's some big teams and big budgets, as Glenn said. So it will be a really competitive division this season. But I think we've done some good business in the window. Still got some key players, some experienced boys to come back into the side. So I think the signs are good.
We'll come on to the starting lineup very shortly, but I just want to talk about the one bit of business that arguably is the most important, and that's tying Richie Wellens down to that long-term contract at the end of last season. And that is, we've said how key he is to everything we do. But how good is it to get him tied down?
Yeah, he's a key driver behind everything we do at the moment. So getting him tied into a contract, we've then got to back him. Obviously, he's had assurances from the board, from the directors, with his vision of what he needs to get the team, the squad, to the next level and to the next level and the next step after that. So he would have had assurances, hence the reason he's put pen to paper. With everything, there's throughout the season we're going to have ups and downs. There's going to be injuries, there's going to be suspensions, there's going to be times where the supporters get on the team's back, and then the next week they're going to be. But the manager is very level-headed throughout, no matter what sort of form we're in and where we're going. He's a very level-headed manager, a very level-headed person, and he'll keep the players just in check. He'll keep them just ticking along, and he won't get too up with the ups and too down with the downs.
Well, then it is time to bring you the very first starting 11 of the 24-25 League One season. Here is the 11 that Richie Wellens has opted for as we go on the hunt for our first points of the campaign. Starting in goal, On loan from Middlesbrough is Zach Hemming. Jaden Sweeney occupies the left-back position. At centre-back we have Dan Happy and Omar Beckles, who is wearing the armband today. And another new signing at right-back is Sean Clare, who joined from Wigan Athletic. The two in midfield is Zach Obiro alongside Jordan Brown, and then just in front of them in that 10 position is Ethan Galbraith. Out wide is Ollie O'Neill and Dan Aggie, and then leading the line. He returned on loan again from QPR is Charlie Kelman. And on the bench for Leighton Orient is Sam Howes, Tom James, Brandon Cooper, Lewis Warrington, Darren Pratley, Sonny Perkins, and Dialang Jayasini. So that is how the O's are lining up, and it's hard at the beginning of the season to know exactly how we're going to line up, who can do what. I'll hold my hands up. I haven't watched much of the likes of Zach Hemmings or Sean Clare, but it's just exciting to see some potential new heroes in an Orient shirt.
Yeah, it is, and I think Sean Clare actually, I remember playing against him a few years back, and I was really impressed with him. Right back, so I was kind of directly up against him, and he was very athletic. Loves to get forward. I think he can play midfield as well. I think he's quite a versatile player. Does a job in midfield and fullback, but yeah, very sort of adventurous. I think offers that real athleticism, up and down, likes to get forward. So excited about him. I think he'll really suit the way Richie wants to play.
Is he an aggressive player, Joe? Is he like defensively? Is he aggressive, or is he just a ball player?
I don't remember him being super aggressive, but comfortable on the ball. Wants to be on the ball. Wants to attack. Wants to get forward and get into attacking areas. So I remember him being solid defensively. He's going back a few years now, but definitely more on the offensive side from what I remember. But yeah, who else have we?
Well, let's talk about the opposite side of the fullback then. If you've highlighted Sean Clare, Jaden Sweeney is on the opposite side of that back four, and if Sean Clare's offering that going forward, we'll be expecting Jaden Sweeney to be offering similar levels. We know what he's capable of, and he's maybe been in and out of the team last season, but it's an opportunity for him this season to really make that place his own.
Yeah, and I think it's it's a big sort of show of faith in him. To have him starting in the 11th there in the first game of the season. Like Glenn will say, as a player, you want to be in the starting 11, don't you? That first game of the season. Pre-season is a long, hard slog. The lineups chop and change throughout in the games, but you want to see your name in that lineup in the first game. So I think that's a big big vote of confidence for Sweens. And I think last season we saw him have good games, but maybe not to follow up with consistent performances afterwards. So he was in and out a bit. So hopefully today he can start with a good display and keep his place in the team.
I think with him, because of the season before the promotion winning team, towards the end of the season he was in the team all the time and done really, really well. Got his new contract. Last year he was in and out. So he sort of comes out at the end of the season, bit down probably because he didn't play the games he wanted to or have the performances. To then have a good pre-season and get the starting shirt at left back today, like you say, give him a massive boost. Players play on confidence, don't they? And you get more out of them. For him to start today, I wouldn't sort of be surprised if he gets man of the match today.
Wow, that's a big vote of confidence from you then, Glenn. He's still young, of course. I think people probably forget he's been around the team, I think, since that National League promotion season back then. But he's still a young player and a lot of hope in him. But he's not the only young player in this squad. If you look throughout, it's really young. It's really exciting, especially in that midfield. I know we've touched on it already, but Zach Obiro, he came in last few games of the season, and he looked like a man who'd played 50 games in the EFL. He's a really exciting one.
Good, strong players come through the academy. Really, really done really well when he got his chance last year. Just hope he kicks on, gets stronger. He has that belief that I belong here. I belong in the starting 11, and he puts in the performances to back it up. But he's a very young. I wouldn't say very young. How old was Jordan Brown? Early 20s. So you got Jordan Brown, Obiero. You've got Galbraith in there. You've got O'Neill in there. He's quite young. If you look at it, the average age of the side, we spoke about it a lot last year. Over the season, the average age was around 22 years old. I think this is probably younger. Our bench is probably a lot older than what it is, but the manager and the coaching staff have got a belief in these players. They've obviously done something in pre-season, in the games or in training, for them to say, hang on a minute, we're going to go with this youthfulness in there and start off and let's see where it takes us.
I think, sorry, just on that, I think that's something that, you know, Richie specifically wanted. I think he wanted, you know, youthfulness. I think he wanted energy, athleticism. I know that's something that you mentioned a couple of times in the press. Having that athleticism, boys that can get around the pitch and cover, do you know what I mean, cover ground. I think we, you know, in Sean Clare, you've got someone that can do that. It'll be up and down all day long. Ethan Galbraith, you know, I know he played a lot last season at fullback. We know he wants to be in the middle of the pitch, but he'll get around as well, cover good ground. Same with Jordan Brown and Zaka Vieira as well. So you've got that real energy in there, I think.
Whilst people maybe say you don't win stuff with kids, if you look with the exception of maybe Sean Clare and Zach Hemming, all other 9 players have played together. Even Kelman a couple of seasons ago, you know, they've played together, and Zach's been in and around the squad for a few seasons now. Whilst they might be young, they've played together for a long time. It's not like they're just 11 kids being thrown together. There's something being built, it feels.
I think the defence is strong. I think in the heart of the defence you've got Beckles and Happy. I don't know how many games they've played together, but they've played an awful lot of games. Last season when we were struggling a little bit in defence, it was when one of them was out injured or whatever. When they got back and they were fit and they played together, they were solid. That was when we probably minimised the opposition's as few chances in a game as any, you know, and we kept a lot of clean sheets with them at the heart of the defence. It's no surprise for me that Richie's gone with them to today there. Obviously Sweeney, Claire's come in unknown, but he's played a lot of games in the EFL, you know. So we've got a solid sort of foundation there at the back. Yes, Hemming, the goalkeeper, he's new to us, but he's played a lot of football. So I think the back foundation in the defence is very, very good. You've got that midfield, and then you look up top, you've got O'Neill, Kelman, Ajayi. They are good. They're all quick. They've all got a trick. They all can score goals. So that's a really exciting team for me. And looking at the bench, we've got some good depth there on the bench as well.
Certainly do. just to finish up then with Charlie Kelman, who's, I don't know, is he playing that Shaq Ford role of out wide, or is he through the middle?
Shaq Ford role? He's got his own role now.
Well, that's what Shaq Ford did last season. You know, we've had to replace 10 goals that Shaq had, or that Shaq brought to the team last season. But Kelman's come back, and maybe a lot of fans will remember Charlie from his stint in that promotion-winning season in League Two. But he's a couple of years older now. He's had a really good pre-season. Probably stronger, quicker, and he'll be looking to probably score a few more goals than he did in his first spell here at the club.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. And I think, you know, last time he was here, he sort of was in and out of it, wasn't he? Played sort of second fiddle to Aaron Drinnan and Harrison,
Paul Smith.
Paul Smith, yeah, at times. So he was in and out, wasn't he? And sometimes, you know, asked to do a job on the right wing. I can see him leading the line and saying, look, you know, I've come here to be a centre forward now. I want to score goals. He's had another loan at Wigan last season, so I think he'll come back, you know, sort of full of confidence and saying, you know, I want that number 9 shirt. I want to get goals. We know what he's like. He likes to be in and around the box. Do you know what I mean? He operates well in that sort of in that penalty box, in that 6-yard area. That's where he comes alive. We know he's got an eye for a goal, and I can see, if anything, I can see Dan Ajayi being more of the wide man, sort of coming in off that flank and being an extra body up top. But for Charlie, I think, you know, he's going to be thinking, right, I'm here to score goals this season, and that will be his main focus, I think.
That front four, looking at it, they've all got pace. And what I like about them is they'll go and press, and they'll go fast, and they'll go together. And that's quite exciting as well, nicking the ball high up the pitch. With them 4 around the ball, they'll go and score goals. And I wouldn't be surprised, that's where we get a lot of chances this season. From if we can keep them guys fit and on form, that's where we'll nick the ball high up the pitch.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how Richie puts his puzzle together. But now it's time to hear from the main man, Richie himself. For the first time this season, let's hear what Richie has to say ahead of today's game.
Gaffer, the first pre-game interview of the season, and what a great game to start with, Bolton at home.
Brilliant game. It's always nice to have an end to the pre-season because players ultimately don't like it, and then to have a big game to look forward to. It's exciting. It's going to be a great season. One of the best for me. One of the best League One seasons he's ever been in terms of the finances, the big clubs, the competitiveness of the top half of the clubs. So really exciting season and a really big club to kick off here at home.
We obviously play every club twice over the course of the season, but it is a really eye-catching start for us, isn't it? Does that add a little bit of extra excitement?
I don't think you can always be wiser before the event. Sometimes you like the clubs like Rotherham or Birmingham that have spent a lot of money but are still trying to integrate new players. They've built a whole new team on some circumstances, and then we've got Bolton, who are quite an established club, always finishing in around the top half of this league, sorry, the top 6. Quite a consistent squad. But you just never know. You never know. Sometimes we've had pre-seasons here where we haven't won a game, and then we've won 9 out of the first 10 games. So I don't think you can really, 100% conclusively say that this is going to happen or that is going to happen. And that is part of the excitement, the unknown. And obviously when you start to play the game, you can start to build, you can start to see signs of how to improve, how to get better. But ultimately the first game is up to the players to go out there and take the game plan forward, but prove the fitness, prove the sharpness, and prove that they're ready to compete at this level.
Top stuff there from the gaffer. Now this afternoon's game, yes, it's a slightly later kick-off time than usual, and that's something we're all going to have to get used to a little bit this season. But this game is available now to stream both on Sky Sports Plus and also on Orient Live for overseas fans. So if you're watching live on our YouTube and you're living somewhere sunny or abroad, then you can head over to LeightonOrient.com and pick up a match streaming pass. You can also pick up an overseas streaming subscription for the season as well. And Sky bringing improved camera angles and quality to the stream as well, so we'll be benefiting from that, which will be good to see. But now it's time to hear from a club legend as he gave us a preview ahead of today's game. It's Terry Howard.
Terry, opening day of the season, if you just cast your mind back to your playing days, how excited would you be right about now?
Yeah, it's always a special day, the first day, you know, and it was always better when you're at home. I always preferred it if we had a home game first. The weather today's a little bit reminds me of the day we played Swansea out here, and like Bolton, Swansea were one of the favourites to go up that season, and we put in a great performance in about 80-degree heat and won 3-0. So something like that would be great today, but any sort of result today, any sort of positive result would be a good start.
Richie, the manager, said yesterday that players generally don't like pre-season too much. What was pre-season like for you?
Hell. Any of the boys that ever played with me at a club would know that pre-season and the training was not my favourite. I mean, it was hard for everyone, but there were boys that were better athletes. When I got on the pitch, it was a different matter. I mean, I just wanted to play games, like many boys do. But there was, I mean, I've got to remember Peter Eustace and Frank Clark would take us over to Epping Forest, and that was just awful. I remember my days at Chelsea, we used to go to the sand dunes at Aberystwyth, and honestly, I mean, it's so hard.
And Bolton today, they obviously came really close to promotion in May. What kind of test are you expecting them to give us?
A very difficult one. I think it'll be interesting to see how they react from the disappointment of losing the playoff final last year, when I think we all expected them to beat Oxford, and hopefully they've got. We'll hope from our point of view they've got a bit of a hangover from that today. But I expect that they will come here. They've signed a few boys in the summer, which you'd expect to do. They're one of the big clubs in the division, probably got the highest budgets. So it's going to be tough today. But you know, our boys, we've signed a few as well. So it's by no means an insurmountable task.
Great stuff there from Terry, and Glenn was just reminiscing about, what was it, the 90s, back when you took his place after that infamous interview?
Yeah, I couldn't speak to Terry for years after that. I felt so embarrassed because he got sacked in the John Sitton, yours Club Reviver documentary, which is on Amazon Prime at the moment. And I got his squad number, which I felt like I betrayed him because I looked up to Terry for years and played alongside him and stuff like that. And just felt really bad, and then I saw him at Billingsgate Fish Market one day, and he said, "Don't worry." His hands were full of fish because he works there, and I really liked him, and the supporters love him as well.
Yeah. Top stuff, and of course, just want to remind you all at home, just as the lads are getting ready to pull on the brand new home kit that was, of course, inspired by the famous FA Cup run of 1978, which you'll be seeing on the stream very shortly. You can purchase that online or in store at the Club Superstore and you want to be quick because some sizes are beginning to sell out, so make sure you don't miss out on that. Right then, let's talk about Bolton. We're going to come onto their team news very shortly. We're starting to hear there, I think, is it 1,300 fans they've brought down? As Terry's touched on, narrowly missed out on promotion last season in that playoff final. It's going to be a very tough test.
It will be a tough test. When we played them away last year, remember that first, was it 10 minutes? It was Bolton, wasn't it?
I think that was 3-0, yeah.
3-0 down in 10 minutes. They absolutely ripped us apart. Yes, we had a young team that day, pretty much like Hamilton today. But they were so good, so intelligent forward players, sort of just pulling out into areas and taking out defenders with them. Not even receiving the ball, but just creating space for other runners to run in. Just really intelligent. 3-0 up, game plan changed. Yes, we got back into the game, but just a really, really good side, and they've done the job on a Saturday, and they were unlucky not to go up. And I think Richie said in his interview that he wanted them to go up, just because that would have been one of the other big hitters out of the league and been somebody else in there. But very strong side, big club, ex-Premier League club, big budget as well, and their supporters will be expecting them to go up automatically this year.
Three signings for them yesterday. One of them, John McAtee from Luton Town. He's on the bench today. But yeah, as Glenn says, they've got budget. We were chatting to one of the members of their staff, and I think they've got 13 physios alone. I mean, I think that's more than we probably have in our backroom staff altogether. But I mean, it probably shows the levels of the budget they have, the size of they are as a club. So we're coming up against a tough unit here.
They are a monster in this league. Yeah, they're probably historically, size-wise, budget. They're up there. They'll be expecting automatic promotion this season. No doubt about it. They were obviously strong last season, but couldn't quite get over the line. Just didn't turn up in that playoff final against Oxford. They were poor that day, but I think the manager's been there a good few years now, and it seems like they're edging closer and closer. Strengthened again this summer. I think they're still here. They're still trying to bring in more quality. So no doubt they'll be there or thereabouts this season. So really good test for us. Just to kind of see where we're at. First game of the season. I always think start of the season, the first games are sort of free hits really, just as the league sort of figures itself out, and the team settles into a bit of a routine, and a bit of Richie kind of figures out what the team's looking like early on. But it's a really good game, and obviously they've travelled so well today, as they will the whole season. So great start and a good one to look forward to.
Well, we can hear the atmosphere building out in the stands of the Gaughan Group Stadium. So, as we approach kick-off, let's take a look and see how the visiting side, Bolton Wanderers, are lining up this afternoon. In goal for Bolton is number 1, it's Nathan Baxter. We have number 3, Jack Iredale. Forge, George Thomason. It's the captain, number 5, Ricardo Almeida Santos. Number 8, Josh Sheehan. 10, Dion Charles. Number 12, Josh Davies-Cogley. Number 18, Owen Toll. And 19, Aaron Collins. Number 23, Sabolks Shkon, and number 37, Scott Arfield. And on the bench for Bolton is Victor Adebayo, Dan Nlandulu, Geordie Osai-Tutu, Aaron Morley, Clayday Lolos, Jay McAtee, and Jay Mateti and John McAtee. So that's how the Wanderers are lining up. And I mean, let's talk about the strikers they've got, not only starting, but on the bench as well. They've got John McAtee and Victor Adebayo on the bench. They're 2 top strikers for this level. They're not even getting into the starting lineup.
No, they're just a strong. They've got a strong squad. But adding, like Joe said, they've bought 3 players, or you said 3 players yesterday. They're looking to recruit a few more. They're really pushing for it. They've seen what Birmingham have done in the transfer market, spending up 15 million quid, I think, on players. They know what they've got to compete with them. They'll be fighting for the top 2 places, I would have thought. Very strong squad, quality on the bench. I wouldn't be surprised if players are not doing it for them after sort of 45 minutes, knowing the manager, he's happy to make changes as and when he sees fit. And with quality like that, whether he's left them out to give them a kick up the backside if they've not been performing in pre-season or they've not trained well, could be that. Or it might be sort of a threat to the guys who have started. We've got quality on the bench, we can change it at any minute.
Well, we got some clips, Joe, of some of the goals scored by Charles Collins and Adebayo. Let's take a look at them now, and this is probably going to be where, as we've already touched on, in that game back in last December, that their ability to score goals is is a good ability, as we'll see here.
Yeah, they got, you know, as we said, they got threats all over the pitch. I think as well, you know, the fact that a lot of that team have been there now for sort of 2 or 3 years, so they know each other well. You know, they're well drilled. They know exactly, you know, how the manager wants them to set up, how they want to play, how they want to work the ball forward. You know, always got willing runners in behind. And yeah, you know, look, striker sharp, goes onto it.
And we really just showed the worst goal they've scored all year.
Bit scruffy, but you know, he manages to stick it away.
But this was from their pre-season game against Port Vale, but I think it's worth having a look at their pre-season. That they haven't. I think their recent games in pre-season.
They had a couple of big games, didn't they?
I think they played Fiorentina
or Roma, someone
one
like
of
that.
them. They haven't won many, but does it mean much at this stage? This is where it really matters. Orient have had a great pre-season when it comes to results, but that means nothing when the first whistle goes at the start of the season.
Results is the minimum you look for in pre-season, is fitness, performance. If you get them two, you're happy regardless of the result. Okay, it's cherry on top if you get a result, but fitness and performance, as long as you've got that coming into the start of the season, you're happy.
And it's so hard to call at this point, isn't it, before a ball's been kicked? I'm starting to get that buzz of, you know, what way is it going to go? But what way do you think it's going to go, Joe?
In terms of the whole season we're talking about?
Today, the whole season, life?
Today I can see it being an entertaining draw. Life, well, I don't know about that, but I mean, in terms of the season, I think, who knows, but I can see us progressing from last season, definitely. I feel like that'll be the expectation, that'll be the demand. I feel like, you know, we look stronger, the team looks stronger, we've made some good additions, and plus we've had a season of adapting to League One. These players know the level better now. So many of those names on that team sheet have improved from last season. We saw the signs of improvement and development and really sort of acclimatising to the level last year. Now the expectation will be to kick on and improve and do better than last year. 3 points would be I know it's early doors, but it'd be a big message if we could. It's a scalp almost up against the money they've spent in a club their size. 3 points today would be a bit of a statement.
If we win today, other teams will look at that and will they be saying, oh, Bolton are not starting too well, or will they say, Leighton Orient look good, beat Bolton? Never know, do you? No. I think we'll do well today. I fully expect us not to lose.
Well, we'll find out and we'll certainly see how it all goes, but the players have made their way out onto the pitch here in E10, so it's time to hand over to our match commentary team of the wonderful Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good afternoon and welcome. The wait is over. We're at the Gaughan Group Stadium, Brisbane Road, and this is it. The season is going to start, and it's going to start remembering 3 greats that we lost this summer. Phil Hoadley, of course, the captain, the leader of George Pecksett's side that reached the semi-final of the FA Cup, and it's fitting that this season's kit pays tribute to that very special team. Kevin Campbell, of course, I've never known